going to get to what everyone's been waiting for, and that is the records. Do you want to start in the Atlantic or the Coastal?
I say start in the weaker of the two.
So the Coastal.
Yes, obviously. Okay. Yes,
So,
obviously.
coming in 7th place in the Coastal. Oh, let me not block my mouth. Coming in 7th place in the Coastal with a 2-10 record, 0-8 in conference. I have the Virginia Cavaliers.
I have absolutely no problem with your ranking. I actually have the exact same 2-10 record with 0-8.
Perfect. What do you think about that, Dan Beebe?
Yeah, seems pretty accurate.
Okay. Coming in next, 6th place in the Coastal with a 2-10 record, 1-7 in conference.
Duke.
The Duke Blue Devils.
I have Duke at 3-9, but still 1-7 in conference.
Yeah.
I gave them an extra victory somewhere along the lines. I don't know where it fell, but I'll give them the 3-9, but they're not going to do anything in the ACC.
All right. Coming in at number 5 in the Coastal with a 4-8 record, 2-6 overall, or not overall, in conference, excuse me. Georgia Tech.
These two are almost interchangeable to me. I actually have Pitt there. I don't necessarily really believe in Max Brown. I have them at 5-7 with a 3-5 record.
Okay. And that's going to be our biggest discrepancy.
I know you're a lot higher on Pitt than I am, but
coming in, what do you think, Dan Beebe? Georgia Tech good there?
Have to wait and see. Yeah.
All right. Coming in the 4th spot at 7-5 overall, 3-5 in conference. North Carolina Tar Heels.
I have Virginia Tech going at 5-7 with a 4-4 record.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Your and I's Coastal are a little messed up.
Yeah. Anyways, Dan Beebe, what do you think?
I'll meet in the middle. Say they're 500.
Oof.
Up in the no.
Oof. I strongly disagree, but we'll talk about that when we get through the Coastal.
You're saying he's saying he has UNC as 500?
UNC or Pitt?
Who's the one you're talking about? Who's the
UNC,
one you say
right?
is going?
Yeah, North Carolina.
UNC? Okay.
7-5.
I have them as 7-5, 3-5 in conference.
Okay, 6-6.
Okay, yeah, that's one game difference. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's
It's 6-6 for me too.
6-6.
They're the next one on my list.
Twinsies.
Yep.
We'll see.
Next, I have Miami.
I have UNC at 6-6 and 4-4.
You have a 6-6 as the number 3 team in the Coastal.
Yes.
Wow, I have Miami at 9-3, 5-3 overall. Not
That's
overall,
pretty...
Jesus.
In the ACC.
Yeah, in conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably solid for Miami. 9-3.
Yep.
And this is where I'm assuming you have Pitt.
Number 2 is Pitt, 8-4 overall, 6-2 in conference. Let me
have Miami at 9-3 and 6-2.
Okay. So we're close.
I think
there.
Miami's going to have a better season. I think at a certain point they're going to realize the talent of Perry. They're going to have the way that I can break it down is they're going to have an almost USC feel to their season.
They're going to make that switch at quarterback?
They're going to make the switch. Everything will start to click. They'll put the pedal to the floor, but it's not going to be enough.
Okay, so let's just run through Pitt really quickly. Pitt at Duke. That's a win for Pitt.
Yes.
Virginia at Pitt. That's a win for Pitt.
Yes.
North Carolina at Pitt. I have Pitt winning.
That game can go either way to me.
Then we've got Miami at Pitt. I have Pitt winning.
I have Miami winning that game.
I think there's going to be that turmoil at quarterback. I think that's why Miami. That to me is about when N'Kosi Perry's going to take over, and by then I think Max Brown is going to
see that, and I will raise you. Perry goes in that game and leads them back to win, and never gives back up the starting role.
Call it as an OT game, potentially.
Yeah. All right, then the next week. Oh, wait a second.
I think you missed Penn State somewhere in
there.
That's a loss.
Yeah, hold on. I did out of order. I was reading the second half of the season. Youngstown State at Pitt. Pitt wins. Then they play Penn State. Penn State wins that.
Yeah, that's a loss.
Let's see. What's next? Pitt. Oklahoma State at Pitt. Oklahoma State's going to win that. Pitt at Georgia Tech. I think Pitt's going to win that. Rice at Pitt. I think Pitt's going to win that. Pitt at Syracuse. I think Pitt's going to win that.
Okay.
So that right there. I mean, we didn't really differ on too much.
No, not a ton. I mean, there's a few in there, but that's the difference from 5-7 and 7-5.
Yeah.
Or 8-3 or whatever you have.
8-4, yeah.
4, yeah, that's what I mean.
And then at number 1, I have Virginia Tech, and at 12-0. Like, I was going through this.
I don't know how you got Virginia Tech at 12-0.
Hold on. Let me just explain how this happened. I was going through and I highlighted the winner of all the games, and then I counted the record, and I got through. I'm like, Jesus Christ! I have Virginia Tech winning every game.
He led you there.
Yeah.
I have
my
Virginia
God.
Tech at 9-3 and 7-1. I still think they take the Central. I think that they're clearly the best.
Wait, you said Virginia Tech was at 4.
What are you talking about?
I think.
No, Georgia Tech was at
Georgia.
4.
Okay.
Georgia Tech is at 4 and 5 and 7.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So that
Virginia Tech is winning this division.
All
They're
right.
clearly the best in the Coastal.
So then now we go to the Atlantic.
Okay.
All right. Wait, who do you have number 1 in the Coastal?
Oh, he is VTech. He's got
Virginia Tech? Okay.
Yeah, he got Pitt right behind him. Yeah.
All right. So then go to the Atlantic. In the 7th spot, we got Boston College, 2-10 overall, 1-7 in conference.
3-9, 1-7. What's the difference?
There really isn't one.
Pitiful.
Pitiful. Syracuse 2-10, 1-7 in conference. Boston College's 1 win, or Syracuse's 1 win is over Boston College, so they're
have
above them.
Syracuse at 4-8 with 2-6.
Okay. You probably have them beating Pitt, don't you?
I believe I do.
So that's where that would differ.
Although that's possible to not happen. Syracuse is another
Trash.
dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Number 5 in the Atlantic, we have Wake Forest. I have them at 7-5, 4-4 in conference.
I have Wake Forest as well at 5-7 with a 2-6 in conference.
Okay. What about you, BB?
It's around the same.
All right. Then 4, I have NC State at 8-4, 5-3 in conference.
I have the exact same thing.
Okay. BB, you got that too?
Yeah.
In 3rd place, this is probably the shocker, I have Clemson at 9-3, 5-3 in conference.
I have Clemson at 9-3 but 6-2 in conference.
I would give them one more win.
You have 10-2?
10-2, yeah.
All right.
For,
Then in 2nd place, I have Louisville at 11-1, the only loss coming to Florida State.
Okay. Technically, Florida State has more losses. But if we're going to break it down as far as how the conference is going to play out, Louisville would technically be second at 11-1, 7-1 in conference.
And then I have Florida State going 11-1 overall, 1 loss to Alabama, and 8-0 in conference.
I have Florida State 8-0 in conference. I have them 10-2 because I am always worried about the matchup with Florida. For whatever reason, that game always seems to be close to me. It's one of the games, and I will say this when I write the blog, do not touch that line with Florida and Florida State. Just don't do it, because whatever you do, you'll be wrong.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it's always close, and there seems to be some kind of field goal or win scenario that seems to throw the whole thing out of order.
Because you know what's going to happen, right? You're going to think, oh, 2 good defenses, I'll take the under.
Yep.
And then
it's a
71 to 63.
Rivalry games are some games that free piece of advice without reading the blog. Do not go with rivalry games. Stay away from them.
Yeah.
That and Hawaii at home.
Hawaii at home.
Teams don't like to travel there. That Colorado team's at home too. Something about the air quality.
Sure, quote unquote air quality.
No, it's elevation, not every.
Yeah, something about being higher. Whatever.
Yes, that's yep.
Treadmill and oxygen. Yeah.
I'm actually now that you say that might have some effect on the poor play of the other teams.
Yeah.
Because at least the people in Colorado are used to it.
Right. Yeah. What's that smell? Nothing's football.
Nothing. Don't worry about it. Just kick the ball.
So that means we have Florida State and Virginia Tech for me and Tony. Is that what you have too, Dan?
Yeah. Florida State looking promising.
You have them winning the Atlantic?
Yes, I do as well.
Okay, so we're in agreement. Who wins the ACC? Florida State or Virginia Tech?
Florida State has too much talent. I don't think Virginia Tech has enough talent to compete with Florida State. I think it'll be a closer game than people would think, but I think Florida State will win in the long run.
People forget Virginia Tech was a bad penalty away from beating Clemson in the ACC championship game last year.
Certainly true, and they deserve a right to get back there. It's just having Francois, if Akers comes into his own and can produce, and having James on the other side of the ball, and that's not even covering the other players, because there are great linebackers and DNs that are on that Florida State team that I feel is going to be proved too much for the Virginia Tech team.
Oh, I completely agree. I don't think it's going to be that close.
I think it'll be closer, but I think come second half, maybe I'd say towards the end of the third, it's going to start running away from them. Virginia Tech won't have enough to keep up with Florida State.
I wouldn't be surprised if they end up winning like 48-21.
Jesus.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that's
just how good I think this Florida State team is.
This Florida State team is very dangerous, and I think it's the Florida game that may unfortunately keep them out of the college football playoff.
Okay.
I think it's a Florida game. I think they do win the ACC, but I think that Florida loss may hurt their chances of getting in.
I think it's 4 other teams going undefeated that's going to keep them out.
I think that's going to be part of the argument. Maybe if they were a one-loss team, they would have been considered as ACC champs, worthy of going in, versus maybe one of the undefeateds. But at that point, that's not enough to get them to play, because the undefeateds take rank.
Alabama undefeated will get in. USC undefeated will get in.
Yes.
Penn State/Ohio State undefeated will get in.
Yes.
I firmly believe the winner of the Ohio State-Penn State game only has one loss, or goes undefeated. The team that loses only has one loss.
Yes.
So then,
who else do you think is going to go undefeated?
Oklahoma State, which we disagree.
I'm out of here. I'm done. This is over. This is over. Nope. USA. I'm not going to get angry about Oklahoma State.
If Oklahoma or Oklahoma State or even West Virginia go undefeated, Kansas State, whoever, does an undefeated Big 12 team keep a one loss to Alabama, Florida State out? I think you have to.
Yes, maybe.
The College Football Playoff Committee would be...
Yes, maybe, because that, to me, then the argument becomes... Well, given the talent, let's just say hypothetically, and to satisfy your own side of this, let's say hypothetically Penn State goes undefeated, and they're in. Does the one-loss Ohio State team who lost to Penn State, are they better than the undefeated Oklahoma State team?
Well, here's the argument.
Because we know Penn State's in. Does the Big Ten deserve... If they only have one loss between those two teams... Do they deserve to be playing?
Personally, I think yes. But do I think the College Football Committee would see that? I don't think so.
Yeah, finally. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I can see the argument happening because, I don't know, the College Football Committee at some point is going to have to throw the Big 12 a pity party because they've just been getting the short end of the stick for the last, 3 years? They can't get a team in there.
Well, I mean... They haven't really had a team worthy yet.
Yeah, because their conference isn't worthy.
Well, yeah, no, it's the worst, the weakest conference.
I
don't know what Dan O'Shea was thinking, saying that.
I don't know. They just don't have the talent. They don't have the plethora of talent that other conferences do.
No, they don't. And I think it's going to be. I think those are really good questions because you literally could come down to an undefeated USC and a one-loss Washington. That same scenario.
But I mean, the same thing could happen here because does the Florida State get in with the ACC title with one loss if they have your record?
Well, then Virginia Tech went undefeated and then lost in the championship game if it's close. Because we saw
that's baloney anyway. Virginia Tech is not going undefeated. I'm sorry, but the 8-0 I can buy. The 12-0. No, thank you. I want my money back.
Who out of conference is going to beat them? Maybe West Virginia, first week. Anyways, we'll save that for. Actually, no, we've already talked Big 12. I don't I have the schedule right here. Let's see. Virginia